Howdy, all you delicious people! I'm here today to view WWE's Backlash Tampa because I'd like to call it WWE's Backlash Tampa instead of just Backlash Tampa. Because when you search this thing in, it's just Backlash Tampa. I had to go on and do that because I was trying to figure out how to watch this. Because it seems that after a certain amount of time, Netflix doesn't have a replay for this event. So, for the TNA people that just love money, they don't love rewatch money on Netflix, they hate that, right? I'm so confused. So, hey guys, if you want to go on and you want to see this, you have to see it live because you just can't have a life or a sleep schedule during the day or anything of that. You have to watch this event live. Don't have a life or anything. Just watch WWE because you have to be a fan and not a person that critiques this product, right? Paul Levesque. So I go on and I make my way after already being ticked off of how to find this and watch it through bootleggish means because that's the only way I can watch it because I can't rewatch it on Netflix because they have that feature that doesn't have it to be replayed. So, we then go on to have this PLE. And if I'm already ticked off, just wait till we have me talk about John Cena and the Danhausen match that are going to be the things that you should be clickbaited the most into Backlash because everything else is to just be flat rematches or just stuff that people are fighting with for nothing. And even the stuff that you are going to get clickbaited by, it's not going to be that profound that you need to go out of your way to have no life to watch this on a live thing to see. So, but I'm also going to talk about the WWE releases. Isn't that interesting? There's going to be a good chunk of number of people that had gotten released, and there's going to be very few names I'm going to list. So my apologies for me not rattling off every single one of these names. Ones that may be profound by you, or some people that may go on and be like, who the heck is that? I have no idea who even they are. So, we go on and we have realized the New Day had gotten released. Yeah, Xavier Woods is to be injured right now, or Austin Creed. But also, like, these guys getting released is kind of a shock. We'd go on to find guys like Aleister Black that wasn't in a PLE when he was hired anyways. So I knew where that was going. He's not important to them for some strange reason. As well as also me going on and finding out the Wyatt Six was to have all gotten released. But Alpha Academy is still employed here. Anyways, so the Wyatt Six is to have not gone on and had anything of which that WWE was allowing them to do. So this was not a shock either. But people were shocked by it. Whatever. So we then go on to eventually have Motor City Machine Guns. I'm sorry about the shitty. I apologize. That's not what I feel about them. If anything, they had really shitty booking. Like, after they won the titles, what did they do with them? Nothing. Like, there were some good matches with them and DIY, but, like, after that, it's all on WWE to have effed up that whole thing. And given them a story that they put time into doing with them and then did bupkis nothing with them. Look at Kairi Sane, the person that is to be basically the new CM Punk chant. Which no one should really care right now because if anything, Asuka is to have her last match tonight. Or whatever Backlash was. So, I would go on. After hearing about all these releases, come to find out, after they fired a bunch of these people and they got rid of quality wrestlers, They just hired 10 new other wrestlers. From where? Who cares? Because if anything, they could have gotten rid of the entire NXT to save money for these wrestlers that they let go, because any of these people that they're calling up, I do not care about. I do not care about NXT anymore. They even let go LFG people, which really tells you how much care that really just show is that it doesn't matter. They got rid of LFG people just to hire new NXT people. Does anybody see the stupidity of that? But whatever, right? Just whatever. Just willy-nilly just fire people to hire people. Because they did that last year. They hired a bunch of people just to sign a good chunk of people right after that. How does this make sense in anyone's mind? But anyways, let's get to the John Cena announcement. So, you know what? I get what John Cena was trying to do here. John Cena, for his love of going on and caring so much about the future of this product, but also is to take up time within the product of us seeing him. More so than we did actually see him when he was actually a active roster. I'm not talking about the last year. There were some times where he showed up 1 month out of the year, and we would get all excited because, oh, he showed up. But we have to say that he cares about the product now that he's retired and away from it. Whatever. So we're just going on and just having John Cena do this because I'm sure he's probably getting very much annoying that everybody is doing these open challenge things, and he's like, well, hey, I was the guy that did that first. I was the guy who did first. So now I want to go on and I want to put on this whole John Cena Open Classic thing because everybody is just taken from my cookie jar. So I'm going to go on and I'm going to put this tournament together that means nothing. It's all about whoever is the most popular wrestler is going to be the person that is going to get this belt or whatever it ends up being. An award, a statue, a thing that'll go on and mean nothing to whoever wins it anyways, because has anybody ever benefited from one of these kinds of tournament things? Look at the Mae Young Classics. Look at the Cruiserweight Classic things. Look at the Andre Battle Memorial huge massive award things that those people that were to go on and actually won those things are probably either to be released on a different company now. Look at the people who are to go on and win anything in NXT that is to be of any trophy of any kind. Are they really doing anything effective within the WWE program? Are they even booked on WWE anymore? Like Samoa Joe and Finn Balor were one year winning the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics, and look at them now. Well, Finn Balor is at least still there. If anything, John Cena is to have done this because AEW is doing stuff like the Owen Hart whatever classic thing, and people get belts, and they had the whole Saudi Arabia thing where people get belts there, and so John Cena just has to have his name on something, right? Because people have to remember who he is. I hate to say it, but that's what I'm thinking here. Believe me, I'm to be a person that takes time out of my day to watch John Cena interviews and to go on to have watched Total Divas and Total Bellas or whatever because he was also at some points on that, as well as also seeing what else was going on in those things, because John Cena is not my whole universe. And so, even though I'd go on to say things contradictory to that, Like I'd gone on to see his whole interview on Cody on the Old Undertaker and blah 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 blah. All these things. Where eventually he'd go on and on the interviews uh have his interviews go on way longer than they actually were because he used to be of a person that goes on and gives his time up to other people. So when he really could probably be going on and probably being a father right now, he could be filming something right now, but he's on this thing to do this announcement for a reason of which that is to be of real no benefit to the actual product. Because none of these things has ever really been an actual benefit to the product, but whatever. So John is doing this open challenge thing, and so he goes on to rattle off all these wrestlers that are supposedly popular, like Obafemi and Sol Ruka. And did he mention anybody else? Because eventually I probably should have remembered every one of these names. But it's so funny how he mentions any of these, and not a single one of these characters are in a card, or on this card. Obafemi right now is wrestling Alpha Academy. That why are they still booked on this television whatsoever? But yeah, like John Cena even does the Obafemi strut. Everybody keeps chanting Oba. Great. I guess we know who's going to win this title before it even starts. So, is Danhausen going to be part of this? Probably not. Because if anything, like Matt Cardona, Danhausen, Obafemi, those should be either one of those three would be nice that they would be getting this title, because I feel like if anybody deserves it, it would probably be those three right now. A lot of people would probably say, no, not Matt Cardona. No, yeah, Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona. What is he, either jobbing out to people or having people, local talent, job out to him? Like, how about have him do something more effective by winning this title? Because he's not going to get the world, right? That's where he should be at right now. He should be fighting for the world title. If anything, when they were kind of teasing like a Cardona Cody title, instead of putting Cody with Ricky Saints right now, I don't really care for Ricky Saints. To me, he looks like a Wish version of Fandango. But if anything, it's way early. I don't know much about Ricky Saints. I'm sure he's going to be booked at a PLE when? So I can probably still not care about him. Anyways, so all these future stars that they're putting so much time in, but we see the same old booking. We even see rematches and stuff on this card because we have to just do that, right? So let's get to the Danhausen, Miz, and Kit match. So out of this match, you know who I'm happy most about? The Miz. I'm happy that he's getting booked. I hope that this match was fun for him. I don't know why I have to go on and focus on the Miz, because I like him. I like the Miz. I don't care if he's heel, whatever. No, I freaking like the Miz. I can like the Miz. I can like everybody except for people that go on and annoy me or do some bullshit that I don't like. So the Miz and Kid are really a good tag team, I feel. If anything, I would have actually liked for the Miz and Kit to win here. I know a lot of people are like, no, Danhausen is favorite. It doesn't really matter if Danhausen wins or loses. It doesn't matter. Because Danhausen will be popular regardless. But I can understand why a lot of people could say that Danhausen needed to win here. Because of just this stupid tag team partner that they put him with that basically was Botchamania. Yeah, so we could have put Danhausen with Finn Balor, and that would have been cool. There was a picture of Danhausen with Demon Finn Balor, and I was like, man, that actually is like a really if you want to think about the most fitting tag team right there, Finn and Danhausen, that works. That makes sense. But no, that's not where they went with. People were going on and saying that John Cena is going to step out of retirement just to this match, and I am to have boggled my mind and just to say how stupid that really was. Because, I'm sorry, John Cena has mentioned how he doesn't want to get involved in matches, but people are saying that he should be involved in the Danhausen one. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would John Cena step out of retirement to do this match? So, no ill will for the people who were to be a part of it. I'm just saying, why would John Cena step out of retirement for this one? Doesn't make sense. Plus, John Cena mentioned about his last match and how, if anything, during that whole entire card, he was trying to put the best opportunities for whatever people, which I don't really remember that at all. Anyways, because I didn't really bother to see that Saturday night's main event. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you that I don't really care about every single thing going on in WWE. So, back to this matchup. So, Danhausen is basically turned into Steve Urkel, which is to have been from Family Matters. Some people may not know that that show exists anymore, but I do. And didn't the New Day kind of do something like this in the past anyways? So Danhausen is in some ways kind of recreating stuff from the New Day. So Danhausen is going to basically become the New Day. Really, that's what they're doing with him, and that's stupid. So, whatever, I guess Rocket strapped this guy somehow, because Danhausen, to me, I love Danhausen. I love Danhausen. I'm a big fan of him, really like him. Saw a lot of this stuff in ROH. I saw him in AEW. Any of the specialty kind of interesting things that he did in any of those matches, didn't see any of it here. It was very basic, common stuff. I wasn't excited about any of the things that he was going to be doing in this match, because once I found out who his tag team partner was, I'm like, oh, okay, so this guy coming in is going to take up most of the time, and then Danhausen is going to be barely there, which that's what really happened. So Danhausen goes on and is to concoct this cloning machine. Oh, wow, this is great. So Danhausen goes on to create what is to be Minihausen. A guy who was from El Matadors or whatever, he was in that faction. And yeah, this guy can't wrestle. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but he can't. I'm sorry, like, he's botching everywhere. So, we could have gone on and hired quality wrestlers, but WWE doesn't like to do that. So, they just like to book these random people that they hope that they have something there, but they really don't. Anyways, so, but hey, we have guys like John Cena that cares about the future of this sport. I have to really keep just digging that hole. Just let's drill that in there and let's really just be cranking on that, right? So, God, I'm really gonna be hated by this review. I apologize. I have to be honest. I have to be the CM Punk. I have to be the voice of the voice, or whatever other thing that I could just slap here to rip off from some of the wrestler instead of being my own self. So, Danhausen goes on to have mini Danhausen that takes up most of the match time. And nothing from this match is to be a real legitimate takeaway besides, at one point, Kid is to be chasing off the Minihausen or whatever going into the cloning machine, and then there's other Minihausen that come out of this machine and start chasing off Kit and start hurting him and hitting him. Kind of reminded me of like the Critters movie, where all of a sudden we have a bunch of critters that are all going on and attacking somebody. It's kind of funny. If anything, like, this match just made Kit and Miz look better than it did Danhausen, in my honest opinion. So, at one point we have Miz with the fire extinguisher with all of the Minihausens and Danhausens, And so Miz goes on and shouts, "You are cursed," and then he fires off the fire extinguisher that doesn't work. Miz continues to try to use the fire extinguisher. He pokes it into his head, but like, hey, what's wrong here? He ends up splattering himself in the face. Eventually, all this commotion ends up leading into a pinfall. And so this is about around the time where I like to go and wave my hands up and down and say that spoilers are coming. So, and I'm going to do that every time this matchup instead of going on and taking to the very end to explain who all won what, because I really just could say, let's get this done as quickly as possible, even though we're already 20 minutes in. So, spoilers, everybody. Danhausen surprisingly wins this matchup. Wow, shocker, right? Even with this Danhausen, mini Danhausen thing that was to be botching all over the place, they could still go on and figure out a way to win this matchup. So, great! Wonderful. Shocker. So, was anybody thinking that Danhausen was going to lose this? So, out of the, like, there's 2 matches that you already knew how it was going to end. Then you have 2 other matches that you don't really care about. And then there's the opener. So, the opener, like Seth Rollins versus Braun here, I think was actually a good matchup. Even though I don't like how Braun Breaker goes on and does his Hurricane Rana, because it looks like the other person has to do all the work while Braun just flips and voila, he just falls on the ground. Or whatever, he just does his flip thing. Like, that looks horrible. No wonder why they botched it with CM Punk, because, yeah, like, why would Punk want to do all the work? Why would Punk want to do all the work in that move? That's why Punk did not do it correctly. Because you would think that Braun would do it the traditional way, but I guess not. So, we have also interference going on. I don't know if it was Austin Theory that also interfered in this match, or if it was just Logan. I think I did see Theory in the matchup, but I wasn't sure. So, it was cool that the Vision did interfere here. Like, that was nice. Because this is technically, like, really just having to involve this faction here. Plus, we always have to have everybody not really win clean anywhere, right? And that'll be even to be shown even in the main event. So, really, we would go on to see, like, almost Braun in some ways kind of becoming like a Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. He's doing just a number of suplexes, or back suplexes, or Germans, or whatever. And because Brock isn't doing it anymore. I'm surprised that Brock doesn't go on to do more like belly to bellies, kind of like his Steiner family, but I guess I wouldn't go on and take everything from the Steiners. That would just kind of be annoying. Just have him be kind of a clone. And plus, also, Seth had made that whole joke about, like, well, hey, yeah, you got your old promo from your genetic freak, right? Your hookup, right? Yeah, whatever. So, this Seth Braun match was actually a good match to, I think, open this up. Seth has these weird costume things that he thinks is cool, and in this instance, I didn't really care for this costume. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't really care what it is. And, like, if anything, like, why does it have to be here? Was it connected to something? I couldn't figure that out. Anyways, so eventually within this matchup, we would come to find that there is a winner that arrives within this matchup. I'm really skipping through a lot of these matches because really most of these matches didn't mean much to me. There wasn't enough moves for me to really come off of it being like, yeah, like I know every bit of what happened in here. Plus, I'm not very detailed in my description of these matches, anyways. So, the Seth Braun matchup, spoilers, everybody. We have Braun that ends up being the winner of this, and I'm actually not surprised. Because I actually wanted Braun to be a winner because Seth winning here did not matter. Like, it just mattered that Braun won. Plus, I like Braun better. Like, I think Braun should have been a guy that should have been pushed into the main event status. More so than he already was. Or he should have stayed there anyways. But time will tell. So, now I'll go on to the Sami Zayn Trick Williams thing. So, it's horrible that in this Trick Williams Sami Zayn thing, that there is no care put into either one of these wrestlers. It's all about just some stupid gingerbread man thing. And that's all anybody should give a crap about. Hey guys, yeah, you want to see the AI pictures of this gingerbread stupid man? Yeah, because we don't want to go on and we don't want to focus on Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. We're going to focus on this stupid gingerbread man thing that is going to be put in. Like, this feels like 2K levels of story going on here. Because if you've gone on to see the 2K games, at some point they'd have this like stupid ribby guy, or they would have just this goofy crap that is, hey, who's this mysterious man in this mask? Kind of eventually like how WWE had that whole thing in the vision of like, who's the mysterious guy in the mask? Man, does this show end up being so creative. So, and not creative in a good way. So, in the Sami Zayn Trick Williams match, there really isn't any real takeaway from this entire thing. Yeah, Sami Zayn is still being a heel and he's getting his boos. And so, little Yanni or whatever the guy is, he goes on and he has a kendo stick candy cane in this match. And you would think that the kendo stick would have some kind of effect on this match, and it really doesn't. Little Yanni goes on and attacks Sammy, and then Sammy goes on and rips the cane from Little Yanni and attacks him. Is that even his name? I really don't care. Because he's not a wrestler, so he's a celebrity, I guess. So why is he even here? I don't care. Like, if anything, I want the focus to be on the wrestling, the wrestlers, because if anything, in a 3-hour event, really there's like an hour and a half or whatever, maybe even less than that there is wrestling going on within it. Because evidently that's what these PLEs really are. It's just basically an advertisement for something else other than whatever we should be caring about, which is wrestling. Because why do they need quality wrestling anymore? They don't. So, I don't care about this match. It's happened too many times now. It's not unique anymore. There's no stipulation on this match that I feel that I... Was there? No? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, why was there even having little Yanni with a kendo stick? I'm so good. Why? So, I just don't get any of this. So, every one of these matches have a little bit going on outside of them, for the most point. Yeah, but like... So, winner. Spoilers. Up and down. Shocker, everybody. Trick Williams wins this match. The only guy that seemed to have the crowd behind him, doing the stupid whoop that trick thing. And a lot of people, I could justify the enjoyment of this guy, I guess. Uh, he doesn't really need to be on the card, but he's on the card anyways. Because I'm just trying to figure him out still. Of why, like, he has some Booker T move sets. He's as talented as Booker T. We'll give him that. Um, but I'm just like, why does he need a title right now? I don't get it. Besides the whoop the trick thing, like what is about this guy that's more than the whoop the trick thing? Like what makes him unique enough for him to get a title right now? I don't get it. Maybe I'll get it at some point. So moving on. So now we have the Io Sky Asuka and what should be of Kairi Sane matchup, but it's not there. So people are chanting, we want Kairi Sane, and it's probably never going to go away, right? Until people probably forget about her. Hopefully they don't. But she is the now next CM Punk chant. So we come to find that this is Asuka's last match, and I am to go on and be like, really? Because this match was to not feel like Asuka's last match. It just felt like another match to have been put together and honestly carried by Io Sky. Like, Asuka didn't really get much of offense here. She didn't have any moves besides like a whole consistently like kicking with the leg thing over and over again on Asuka, and then she was kind of like ha 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 at the crowd. Like, there was nothing here that felt like Asuka's last match. And then they told us this was Asuka's last match. So, in other words, what probably was going to happen was that Asuka was going to get released regardless. And so, like, they didn't make this important. And that's a shame. Like, they didn't make this thing with Asuka hold any importance, and I think that is the biggest crime that is to happen to this person. Because of how much Asuka has impacted the WWE in her own right by going on and having that huge undefeated streak that even dwarfed Goldberg, to where Bill Goldberg has to go on and say, yeah, like, I had this undefeated streak until that Asuka girl, whatever, whoever her name is to have gone on and beaten my undefeated streak. Who cares? Somebody had to have beaten it anyways. So yeah, Asuka had this huge undefeated streak for the longest time. And I'd like to look at that Asuka then instead of what is to be what this Asuka is now. Because any of this Asuka stuff that I've gone on to see, it's a shell of her former self. In all brutal honesty. Like, Asuka has never gotten an opportunity past a certain point to do anything anymore. So, for her leaving, it honestly makes a lot of sense. But I hope the best for her. I hope that she is well. And AJ is going on and saying that Asuka should be a Hall of Famer. He doesn't know all the numbers and all the digits and whatever. But AJ Styles is saying that Asuka should be a Hall of Famer. No! Like AJ Styles. I'm even going on and looking at AJ Styles like, heck yeah, she should be. But also, in my opinion, I'm like, why is she leaving? Like, if anything, yeah, like, whatever. Just whatever with this. So, with that said, we'd go on to eventually. EO is to win this matchup because evidently, if you're going on, you're leaving this company, heaven forbid you win a match while you're leaving the company, right? When you go on and when you're retiring or leaving or whatever you're doing, like you have to go on, you have to lose whatever your last match is, right? You can't win anything, right? But if anything, EO was carrying this match anyways. So why wouldn't she have won? Um, EO was more entertaining than Asuka was. Let's say that throughout this entire match. Because EO's entertaining anyways. Like basically, even when she's doing a run in, she's more entertaining than than the people actually that are to be in that match at that certain time. So, if anything, why isn't EO to be fighting for some title right now instead of just being title-less? She did have that tag champ thing with Rhea, but that was just like, hey, we have to give these two a consolation prize because really, like, we can't figure out what title to give them right now. And then Rhea got the women's title back, which again, she's not even on this card. So you've given me an entire card with no no Punk. Immediately, I'm like, why should I care? Then there is no Rhea on here either. Why should I care? Is Joe Henry even employed in this company? Isn't he supposed to be on the main roster right now? I wouldn't know. Uh, I'm so confused. But then also, Joe Henry is dead anyways, so he's been dead for a long time. Even though he's fully alive, believe me, he feels dead to me. Like I hate to say that, but like after that whole Orton Mania spot, yeah, they killed that character. They killed him. You can go on and listen to my review of me talk about say his name and he's dead right here. That's what I think of that guy. Yeah, so like you've taken away so many popular stars that any number of them could have been on this card, but they weren't. But now we are to make our way to the Roman and Fatu match. So I really did actually like this match. They were going on and making Fatu really strong against Roman, which is really good. Cause like, what is this? The whole like CM Punk, you got to make Roman really strong thing. Like it's all over again, where it's like, yeah, Roman, you got to make Fatu really strong. Whatever bullshit. Yeah. So we have this match, and I was waiting for like announcer tables that were getting power bombed through and all kinds of weird extra goofy crap. Because feasibly, like I thought that this match was going to go everywhere. I thought there was going to be some weird, goofy shenanigans or some crap going on here. I thought there was going to be some goofy thing. Also, they're probably getting rid of so many of those Samoans now that it's like, man, they should really go on and do like a bloodline on bloodline thing because they're running out of the bloodline at some certain point. But anyways, so if there's ever a time to do a bloodline via bloodline fight, they should do it now because they might be releasing them fairly quickly. That's a number of other guys that I probably should have gone on and talked about, but didn't. Anyways, so, and they probably have all the reason in the world to go on and be disgruntled because they aren't being used. Anyways, so, plus why would they be? Why would they be? They were hired because of who they're related to. Anyways, so within this matchup, there was at one point where like Fatu was kind of running, and then Roman catches him with a spear, which was a really cool spot. We would really go on, and I think Roman gets more of the offense than Fatu does in this one. Even though, again, Fatu has looked really strong in this matchup. There's a lot of referee shenanigans that are going on with this matchup also. Like, we come to find that that Roman ends up pushing Fatu into the referee. The referee goes down. Fatu, after the match, ends up getting upset with the referee, does a Samoan drop on him. There's a lot of referee stuff going on here. So, eventually what happens, there is a ring rope thing that goes on, or turnbuckle, that ends up getting opened up here, and somebody ends up getting their face rammed into this thing. And that's how they end the match. And I'll go on to reveal who wins the match here shortly. So, the Roman and Fatu match, like, compared to the opener, like, this was as entertaining. But also, like, with me saying that, the Seth of the Braun match or the Roman and Fatu match was not something that I needed to have seen this PLE to need that experience. It was not that rush to get to this to see it. No, like, if anything, little clips and bits and pieces of it after the fact, it's like, okay, this is the result, good, great. Like, I didn't need to go out of my way to see this entire matchup, but I did anyways. So, spoilers, everybody. Roman wins the matchup. He goes on and he takes Fatu, slams him on the turnbuckle, which was exposed, and then shortly thereafter that pins Fatu. Which, I'm to go on and be like, okay, you wanted to have Fatu look really strong. Here's how to make him look really strong. How about win the title? If anything, like, honestly, I feel that Fatu would be better with the title than Roman is right now. Like, I don't think Roman needs a title, but if anything, he has it anyways. Like, if anything, like, it's also nice that Fatu is in the title picture, or was, I guess, at this point, because I was to go on and be like, man, like, Fatu is actually so surprisingly good right now. Why is he in the title? Now then, when he's in the title, I'm like, okay, why not give him the title? No, he's not getting the title? Okay, okay, like, so I hope that they don't make a rematch out of this thing, or, like, if they're going to make a rematch, just add somebody else. Add some other people into this. That'll make it more interesting. That's the problem with the Trick Williams Sami Zayn match, is they just have these two people over and over and over again. How about book more people into that matchup? Make it more interesting. Like, that's when they were going on for far too long with the whole like Becky Lynch and so matchup, like the Lyra matches. And then they're now going with the Becky Lynch AJ Lee thing. Do it into a triple threat match. Add one whole person in there. Make it an elimination match. Pin him in 2 seconds. Huzzah! Like, it's a CM Punk Art of Wrestling thing all over again. Get these people booked if you want to actually effing use them, because you have to pay them so little because you've now cut all their paychecks in half, supposedly. Yeah, I'm sure you really have. I don't get why everybody's saying that, like, these wrestlers have had a half cut in pay. Where is the numbers that says that? Has any of the wrestlers come through and are saying that they got their checks paid and cut in half? Like, where is this fact checking come from? Like, I don't know. I don't really get it. Like, if anything, I also don't care, because, like, if anything, like, like, yeah, it's getting to the point to where WWE is not seeing any other company as a legitimate like threat to them, so they can just pay the wrestlers whatever they want to. Because if anything, most of these wrestlers call WWE their home, or don't want to go anywhere else, and come up with their own real character that can get some real momentum. They want to just stick with the WWE character and whatever, because if anything, they don't want to go on and be more creative on an indie circuit. They just don't. But I also feel that the WWE wrestlers have to go on and have to come up with ideas of how WWE can use them, and not the reverse. Like, we'd go on and have wrestlers that have to come up with even their own wrestling names, because WWE is not even doing the effort of that. And most of these names are to go on and suck. Ask Stevie Richards. Stevie Richards is going on with George Romero and complaining about, like, yeah, these wrestlers' names suck. They sound like porn names. How about you go on? You have these kids no longer give their own names anymore because they suck. But if anything, I would probably not go on and be any better. Look at the wrestling, or look at the name that I have on this channel. It's probably to be stupid to a number of people, but if anything, it's probably a lot better than the stuff that I probably had of names before. Probably, if you probably look at all of it. Like, at one point, the channel name was just my normal name, and then I changed it to a number of just nickname things that I've gotten at points in time. And then how I landed upon this was just like, oh, I like the name San, but now, like, I'm like, well, I liked the whole like corpse brand, like death brand, like I was trying horror brand, haunted brand. I was thinking of something that fit the word brand, because I just heard about this Marvel character called Starbrand, and Starbrand just sounded really cool. So it's just like, okay, how could I use that here? And then I just came up with Skelebrand, and like skeleton, Skelebrand, skeleton man, whatever. Like eventually that just popped for some weird goofy reason, and that is the name of which that I carry upon this channel, even though ultimately it is to probably be a stupid name. Uh, because ultimately I was also kind of heading with Corpse Brand, and there's also still to me in the back of my mind to probably still lean on Corpse Brand, just because it just sounds cool to me. Even though also it'll scare people and spook people away, because corpse, ooh, oh, how horrible. But anyways, but at least I would go on and come up with some kind of character that is tied to that. At least I'd go on to come up with a whole uh, approach of it all and what have you, a whole backstory and everything. Instead of just going on like, yeah, this name just sounded really cool. But anywho, yeah, I'm gonna get it the heck out of here. I apologize for everything that I've gone on to say, but I'm being honest. Uh, this wasn't a good enough review because there wasn't much to come away from it. But if anything, with this PLE, there isn't much to come away from it either. Uh, this is just a thing that I was watching. Now it's over. Uh, Future reviews. I am very tempted to go on and just kind of cover all the superhero stuff that I haven't covered yet, as far as movies and maybe some. Like, I think I'm gonna go on and stick with movies. Like, there's a temptation for me to go on and cover stuff like Big Hero 6. There's some movies that I think I'm kind of leaving views on the table of not doing as far as superhero stuff is concerned. So I figure I might as well review them, even though they're not going to be like the big, huge view cranking in machines that they won't be anyways. I've realized that. I probably should go on and do some reviews that were very impactful recently, but I'm still going on and feeling tempted to cover some things that I found to be interesting. So that'll really just hurt me and sabotage me in the end. But if anything, there's just an ebb and flow of what's going on in the channel. Like, there's some good days, there's some bad days. So if anything, like, if I'm not going horribly bad upon this channel, I feel that I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing anyways. It may be to my own detriment, it may to be my own success, or it may just go on and be a thing that I put out this day. But I'm trying. I'm still doing this consistently. I'm still trying to do this around everything that I have going on in my life, because there are other things I have going on in my life besides just this. So with that said, I hope for the best for you, the viewer, to have watched this. I hope that that you guys have a nice day, because I have to go on and try to do something to be grinding away on Temu's or something, or whatever I'm doing right now. I have no idea how late it is. Yeah, I probably should have had my phone or something on here to where I could look up what time it is to see what I should be doing right now after this is over. So thank you for watching this. I apologize to John Cena and all the other wrestlers for my rudeness upon them, because really, like, I've never taken a bump or I've never gone on to wrestle in my life. I've played wrestling video games where I've created my own character, but that sucked. When looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, that character does not look that good. But if anything, I probably put more thought in that character. If I probably did it on a video game now, it'll still probably look like shit. But if anything, at least there'll be maybe some more effort put behind it. I don't know. But if anything, I'm going to go on and get out of here, because what the do I know about wrestling, right? He knows nothing. That's why these views aren't that good. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, I saw this, so I thought I would review it. Regardless of how unwell this does, I'll have another thing going right after this. Hopefully, after I get all my grinding of other things going and all the things I have else going on, I'm gonna try to do another video on top of this one. Believe me, I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try my best to do it. So look for that. Look for that to happen. Hopefully, I'll be able to accomplish that. So goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.